Wednesday, December the 13th, 2023. December the 13th, 2023. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was another solid episode. I'm going to give it a 7. Y'all tell me what you think. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So we start off with Stephan. So Stephan is in the town square and he's on the phone with Clyde. And he's telling Clyde, no, sir, I did not agree to this. This is not what we said. This is not what I'm going to do. Mm-mm. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And so Clyde is telling Stephan that if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm gonna go nuclear on you. I said, what is nuclear? And Stephan said the same thing. And apparently, I guess he's gonna take out Trip and Gabby. So then Stephan gets off the phone. He fussing. And telling everybody, "What you looking at? You talking really loud in the town square." That's what they're looking at. But anyways, moving right along, we see Ava and Harris. So they're enjoying each other, enjoying their little time together at the restaurant. But she tells him, "You gotta go because I'm extremely busy today, and I gotta get this place set up for the opening." And he says, "Are you okay? Because the last time I saw you this nervous was when you were being threatened by EJ when he put that hit out on you and stuff." And she was like, "No, no, no, it's just I need the day to go successfully and all that." So he's like, "Okay, it will." And so he gives her a little smoochy smooch, and Stephan comes in. And he was like, "Sorry, I'm interrupted," and Harris was like, "No, no, no, I'm about to go anyway." So he ends up leaving, and then Stephan and Ava talking. She was like, "Relax, everything's gonna work out." He said, "Clyde has put some new stipulations on our deal," and she was like, "What? What is he talking about now?" He said he wants us to actually have move the product from here, and she said, "No, no, we can't do that. That would have all these drug addicts and everyone here trying to buy drugs or whatever because that's what he wants them to do. I guess sell out of the storefront. I don't know, child. I'm not really into drugs like this." And so he told them that he wants them to do that, and she's like, "No. What if somebody dies here from a product that we're moving?" And so Stephan like, "We got to take him out." And she said, "What? Say what now?" And he said, "I told you this before." And then she was like, "Oh my gosh." And he was like, "What is it?" She was like, "You look so much like, I don't know where this came from." Because she's been talking to this man for weeks now. "You look so much like Jake." And he was so kind, and he actually slept on the floor while I slept in the bed. And he said, "Well, I'm not Jake." And she said, "I know, because he was a kind-hearted man," and all this. He said, "Well, you better be glad I'm not kind-hearted, because I'm gonna take Clyde out, because he not gonna have this over my head." And she said, "I don't want it over my head either." Lord, I don't know what's gonna come about this, but I feel like this is a long game storyline. But I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. Anyways, so she tells him, "Clyde is name. He was probably just testing you, because he couldn't be possibly want to run drugs out of here like this." And then a delivery man comes and he says, "I have 6 pounds of tomato, 6 boxes of cases of tomatoes." And they say, "Oh no, you got that confused." Ava said, "We didn't order that." He said, "Courtesy of Clyde Weston." We'll see, y'all. So then we go over here, and that's it with them, y'all. So then we go over here with Chad and Everett. And you talk about two men that don't like each other, that's having to deal with each other. So Chad comes into the office. Why is this doing this? Chad comes into the office, and Everett is like, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I am the boss." And he said, "I know, but I thought you were more like," he said, "I thought you were more like a hands off type of boss." And he said, "No, nope, I'm hands on and everything." So now, because of that, he's actually having to gonna have to deal with Chad. And so Chad is just like, "I want to revive the paper. We need to do this good." And he said, so Everett is talking smart to Chad. Like every few comments is a slick reply. And Chad said, "Listen, I'm the one who's your boss. So you might want to watch that attitude." And he said, and Everett was like, "Don't think I don't know you're just doing this to win points with Stephanie." And Chad told him, "I haven't even told Stephanie that I hired you back. Actually, she moved out." And so he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." This is Everett to Chad. And Chad just told him, "Don't pretend to be sorry when we both know you are not sorry about this." And he tells him he is not. And he says, I know what you're trying to do, Chad. You're trying to keep close tabs on me, like sticking around. So then Chad goes into the store spiel about Abigail and how much this paper meant to her and all yada, yada, yada. And so he and Everett find some kind of common ground. And then Thomas calls and he tells Chad, I ain't got no lunch. Thomas was giving Chad the business on their phone from what we can tell. And he hung up in his face, it sounded like. Because Chad told him, you don't have any lunch. Well, wasn't it? And he said, no. And then he told him, well, can you share? I said, share a lunch? What are you going to do? Go around to everybody. Can I get your apple? Can I get half of your sandwich? Can I get a few of your chips? No, he cannot share a lunch, sir. Go feed your son. And so that's why that baby hung up in his face. I don't have time for this. He said, I don't have time for this. I'm hungry. Y'all know how you get when you get hangry. So then Everett says, oh, it sounds like Tom, you're having a rough time. Do you need to go? And he said, no, he'll be all right. I said, no, he will not be all right. The little boy called you because he didn't have anything to eat. And so Chad was like, Stephanie used to take care of all this. I said, oh, Stephanie, the one you didn't want to marry, but you said sitting up here, gotten her taking care of lunch and everything for your children, so much so that you couldn't do it. That's Stephanie. Oh, okay. Anyways, child, Everett says, yeah, she's really good with kids and all that. He said, and Chad was like, I let her take over those responsibilities, maybe too much. You think? You think? Moving right along because I don't remember what else happened with him. That's all I remember. I got so distracted by it. So you gonna let this little boy be hungry? Oh, Chad did tell Everett, by the way, I guess he gonna go and take care of it. And he tells him, by the way, that's my desk. So move your stuff out. And that's it with them, y'all. Let's move on. I'm not gonna give these two any more energy. They're both not my favorite people. So we go over here to Jada and Stephanie. Now we haven't seen any real scenes with these two together, but Stephanie is drinking her pain away from her toe, and so Jada is moving her stuff. She still got that little box in her hand. And so then Stephanie, she tells Stephanie about, maybe she could be moving in with Rafe. And Stephanie is like, well, have a seat, have a drink with me. And Jada was like, it's the middle of the day. She was like, have a drink with me. And so she does. And Stephanie tells her all about, everything going on with her and Chad and how she moved out. And then Jada's like, oh, and she said, and Stephanie was like, no, don't take that as a bad thing. I don't want to tell you, like, she doesn't want to tell her, oh my gosh, this is what happened with Chad and I shouldn't have moved in with him. And then that you make that affect your decision to move in with Rafe. So then Jada says, well, I haven't lived with anyone since my ex-husband. And you know how that ended and everything. And so she told her, Stephanie said, well, I've never, even though we've known each other, I've never seen your ex-husband. And do you have a picture? And Jada said, yeah, I was looking at it earlier. I said, why is Jada okay? So then she was about to show her this picture, and right as she's about to do it, Harris comes in. If you have not watched this, or if you fast forward, you got to go back and watch these scenes. It was too funny because at this point, Stephanie is drunk. She's a little tipsy, and Jada is Stephanie a little bit drunk. Jada is a little bit tipsy. So they convince Harris to sit down and have a drink with them, right? And then they start talking about relationships and everything. And Stephanie says, Harry, can I call you Harry? He said, no, there's no Harry here. It was funny to me. It was funny. So he was like, no, there's no Harry here. But she kept on, well, listen, Harry, how are you with socks? And he was like, what are we talking about here? And she said, well, I just wanted to know how you were with socks and everything. And he was like, oh, Lord, you're drunk. And so he's like, I'm going to leave y'all to this. And they was like, no, you got to stay and talk to us. So they keep talking and all this kind of stuff. That's a cute little scene. You got to watch it. Let's move on. Because then we go over here and we see Tate with Brady, and they run up on Teresa because Teresa is trying to throw that little jacket hoodie away that she had on when she kidnapped that baby. She's trying to throw that away, evidence. And so it's still, I say, girl, stop looking at it and all that. Just put it in the trash. Actually, why didn't you put it in the trash in your building? Like, y'all don't have trash. Anyways, so she's trying to throw it away, and Brady's like, Teresa, what you doing? And she said, "Oh, I dropped my coffee cup. When I threw my coffee cup away, I had my phone, and so I was just trying to retrieve it." He was like, "You know what? I don't care what you got going on or whatever." And I said, "Brady, can you be a little bit nice to her in front of your child?" So they going at it or whatever, and he's asking her for Tate's records from his so they can get him back into boarding school. And she said, why don't you call his doctor? She said, I already asked his doctor. Why don't you call his doctor? He's like, I don't have the name. Because you were 2,000 miles away and I don't have the name of his doctor. She said, oh, right. Because I've been doing all the parenting or whatever. So they going back and forth at each other. And then Alex comes in because she tells him, I don't want to fight with you, Brady. And Alex Brady's like, we're not fighting. And Alex comes in and says, kind of sounds like you are. And so then Brady is telling Alex, mind your business. This is between me, Teresa, and my child. And Taylor's just like, listen, I don't want to hear all this. And so Brady said, okay, we'll leave and I'll just contact the school, because Teresa said he's going to contact the school and get the records that he needs and everything will be fine. And so Brady and Tate end up leaving, and that leaves Teresa and Alex. So Teresa and Alex, they do a bunch of Christmas stuff, and they go back to the apartment. And when they go back to the apartment, she is talking to him about all the traditional things her and her family did for Christmas, and then he talks to her about how his Victor was really big into Christmas, and how Justin, he was like, my dad, I mean Justin. And so she's feeling a little guilty. So then she tried to start sleeping with Alex or whatever. So they ended up sleeping together, child. And let's move on. Because she feels guilty. She feels bad about what she's done. So then we see Tate and Brady talk, right? So Tate and Brady are talking, and he tells him, haven't you thought why my mom is taking a long time to give you those records that you need? And he was like, what? And he was like, maybe because she doesn't want me to go back to boarding school. And maybe I don't want to go back either. And he said, you never asked me what I wanted to do. You just said what you're going to do, what you were going to do. He was like, did you like boarding school when you were going in? Brady was like, nah, I didn't. He was like, but you want to send me back. All right. I don't think Tate's not going to boarding school. He said he likes Holly. He wants to start making friends. He wants to be around, and I'm not mad at it, because you got to have teen stories, because baby, teen stories can turn quickly. Give them 5 years. And you need that new crop. There'll be the new crop of early 20s, the Johnnies and Chanels and all. You know what I mean? So you have to have teen storylines and everything, because you see what is it, the Young and the Restless and the Bold and the Beautiful. Like, y'all need some younger actors on this show. Y'all need some younger people on this show. But anyways, to keep the show developing, like, and to keep it interesting. But anyways, Tate tells him all this, and Brady says, he's bad because he hasn't been listening to Tate. And so he was like, you know what? What's going on with you and Holly? And Tate was like, that girl don't want me. She don't want me. I said, well, at least you're honest. And he was like, listen, I'm going to help you with that. Here's my gold card. Go out and take her out and have a good time, but don't go crazy. And he was like, thanks, Dad. So he calls Holly up, and they're about to go have some fun. And that was it, y'all. That was Days of Our Lives. It wasn't much to it, but I still enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for another episode of What Happened on the Soaps Days of Our Lives edition. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.